Hi there, I'm Nancy from Black Sheep Knitting in Needham, Massachusetts. We are a local yarn shop. We have a wide selection of yarns in very different price ranges. So think about us the next time you're out and about, or you can find us on our website, and we have an online shop that has lots of variety in it and lots of things, notions and kits and stuff like that. So I wanted to talk to you today about my Douglas Cardi. The amazing designer Andrea Mowry, and some of you have seen this, we're doing a workshop on it right now, but I wanted to tell you a couple of things that I discovered when I began knitting it. As always, I did a swatch, and her specifics, the directions on the pattern, suggested she did something called tuku wool DK. So a DK yarn for me is 5.5 stitches over 4 inches. So I chose felted tweed. This is my work in progress here. And I love felted tweed, and felted tweed usually knits at 5.5 stitches to the inch. Well, I looked a little further, and her gauge says 18 stitches over 4 inches, which is 4.5 stitches to the inch. Well, I know on felted tweed that would be too big, too loose, not a fabric I would like, and that's something you should always consider when you're picking yarn and doing a gauge swatch. Is it a fabric that I want? Is it too loose? Is it too tight? And if it is one or the other, and it's not on target for the gauge that she indicates in the pattern, you can change the size that you do. So I did my swatch. I liked it it was between 5.5 and 6 to the inch. I also looked at her pattern, and she said that the recommended ease has 10 to 16 inches of positive ease, which positive ease is extra fabric. And if you look, it is kind of a baggy sweater. And so initially when I saw this, I thought, I'm not sure I want to do that, but I did look further on other people's projects, other people who had done it. And then there was a version that was shorter. I liked the colors, and it wasn't as wide. So after I did my swatch, I thought, well, now what am I going to do? I'm going to have to change the size. Well, how do you figure out how to do that? So I first measured my hips, which is about where I wanted it to fall on me, which if you look I wanted it about here. So that's where I took the measurement. So the cast on for this sweater is just the ribbing all the way around. It does not include the band that is added later. So I measured the band, and the band is 3 inches. So if I want to look, I'm going to look for a cast on that will, I'm not saying this exactly right, but I took my measurement of my hips and I subtracted 3 inches for the button band. So then I took my gauge, which is 5.5 stitches to the inch. I multiplied that by the number of inches I got from my hips minus the 3 inches. And what I got was a number that was around 206. So then I said, okay, then I need to look for a cast on her directions that is close to that number. And I found that there was one close to whatever that number was, near the 206 cast on. So I knew that was going to fit me. So that's the size I chose. Now, a little caveat to that. When I remeasured my gauge, it was really closer to 6 to the inch, which made it a little smaller, which makes this a little smaller. But I thought, that's okay because she's got this huge positive ease. So that seemed to work for me. I read further in the pattern, and if you look, after she did her ribbing, she added stitches. So she made it wider up in here than the ribbing. Now, that's fine if you have skinny hips and a big bust. I have the opposite. I have a small bust and skinny and big hips. So I chose not to increase at all. So mine is straight up from the cast on. So that's a way to adjust a pattern. What you have to find, you have to have a couple of things to make an adjustment. You need to have the cast on for something that you can measure, which in my case was the hips. And then I get my stitches per inch and I multiply that by the inches, and I get a cast on and then I find a size that's close to that cast on, which, oops, wrong page, which if I was starting here, this is on the hem, and so I found one that was close, 206. Now, you can do all those calculations and still make a mistake. So don't make the mistake of not measuring after you begin to knit. So you need to measure, and this, if you look at this, the ribbing will get blocked out. So ribbing always gathers in, so it looks a lot smaller than it is. This will be blocked out to that. So what I did was I stretched it out and I measured it to make sure that I had a measurement that was going to fit me. The second thing that I did after that, all of that, I had chosen to make a shorter version. So in doing that, I needed to get a measurement from under my arm to where I wanted this to fall on, the sweater to fall on my hips. And incidentally, you should do that on every sweater that you make, because some of us are long-waisted, some are short-waisted. So you're never going to be, or you might be exactly on the pattern, but you might not be the same measurement as the person who made the pattern. So that you can easily adjust by measuring as you go up and start your armhole at the proper measurement. And you can do that even if you don't have somebody to measure. You take a sweater that you really like and measure what that number is. So I did that, and I also am in the process, so I've done the front of my first front. They have you do the front, then you do the back, and then you do the other front. So your front and back, so where am I? So the back, of course, and you can easily do this because you're striping, you have to make them match exactly. So that's my progress so far. Those are the adjustments that I've made. Don't make the mistake that I did. I miscounted my rows on the very first part of my sweater. So we all make mistakes, and I decided to just leave it because sometimes I leave mistakes to remind me that nobody's perfect. Okay, so I did want to, and I forgot to mention this in the beginning, I wanted to thank everyone who came to the yarn crawl. It was a great success. We met lots of new people, and I thank you all for coming. We had fun. People won some prizes. We still have our grand prize to give out. And then for people who visited, I think it's over 7 shops, your passports will go on to be put in a pot to win the big grand prize, and that is sometime after the 16th. So you still have time to come in and drop off your passport for that prize and for our grand prize. We'll pick our grand prize probably on the 16th, and you can, it's still sitting in our window, so you can see that. To change gears a little bit, I wanted to show you about some new yarn in the shop. This is a yarn from Lang. I have it only in 2 colors right now, but I'm getting a pink and a blue. This is called Snowflake, brand new yarn for them. It's about the softest thing you'll ever feel. And it is 47% cotton, 42% alpaca, 7% polyamide, and 4% wool. So anybody who has itchiness issues, this would be a good one for you. So I have these two colors, and we have a sample. The sample we have is this adorable hat, very simple, and it's called Basic Beginner Hat for the Family. You can get it on Ravelry. I think it's free, but I'm not sure. But the beauty of this is you look like a genius because the yarn makes this pattern. You don't have anything to do with it. All you do is cast on, do your ribbing, and knit up here, and it makes this adorable pattern. And then you can make a little pom-pom. So that's a fun, easy project. You can adjust this. This is knit on a size 9 needle. And if you wanted it slightly bigger, I would just go up to a size 10. I think it would be fine, but you can adjust up and down for sizes as you wish. So that's a great project. And then another yarn, a new yarn to us, is the Rowan Brushed Fleece. Now, I may have mentioned this before, but this is a very simple, cute cowl called Briar, and it's by Allison O'Mahony. Kniterations, I think she's called. And this is a 2-color cowl, 2 skeins, with a slipped stitch, adding a little bit of a design element to it, and stripes. And here are the colors. This is the great part. This yarn is beautiful. So I'll show some contrast. This one is actually a green and a pale blue, which is very pretty. You could do this smoky gray with the blue, which is what our sample is. This one is called Rock, and this one is Fog, and the green is Heath. We have these two colors that I think are really fun together. This one is called Headland. And if any of you watch Fruity Knitting, Andrea made this for her daughter, made a hooded sweater in this for her daughter Madeline in this color in Headland. It's a beautiful one. And this one is called Dawn, which is very pretty. This is called Craig, a light gray, lighter gray. This one is called Peat. This is like a really deep charcoal, almost a black. And the last one we have is called Blue Grotto, which is a navy blue. So there are lots of patterns online for this Rowan yarn. It's super soft, and the content is merino and baby alpaca and a little polyamide. Everybody's putting alpaca in things because it's so soft. A couple of announcements. If you look at our latest email, we announced our Afghan project that is going to meet one Saturday a month. We're going to do, there are 9 squares. Oh, now I'm blanking on it, but we're doing 2 squares a month. They're small, they're not very big. And so you can make this Afghan project. It's made to look like a quilt, so it has repeats of different squares. And we're doing 3 colors, 2 or 3 colors, but you can do as many as you want. I'm using a lot of white in mine. In any case, we'll be introducing the squares each month. There'll be 2 of them we'll go over. They're easy to do in an evening or, well, in a day or 2 days. They're a lot of fun. So we'll meet once a month from 11 to 12:30 on a Saturday morning. So it should, I think it's 9 months. So look online, you can see that. The other thing is we're having more classes in the store, and we have announced a Zoom class with Catherine. She's doing that on Wednesday mornings. So you can call and sign up for that. These classes run in 8-week sessions for our first group. If you come in the middle, we can prorate your the number of classes for the number of classes that are left in the session. So I think I don't think we have any that are closed except our Thursday morning is jam-packed. So we have 5 mornings a week. Monday is a Zoom class, and then we have 4 evenings a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. and our Saturday will start soon. So I think that's about it for this week. We will see you again soon, and please come visit us. If you like our videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That helps us a lot. And I always hope you learn something from us. So have a great week and happy knitting. Bye.